Boom. Hey, Kathy Murphy. Fox Hill Dreams, Jennifer Sawyer, Deborah Baldini, Pasta D and Kimini, Cecile Kazimi. Whoa. Amanda, Cindy from Alaska, Debbie, Tracy, Stella, Karen, Bernie, Star, Shemay, Kathleen. Hey! What? Julianne Gauthier, Wilbur McCarthy, Solid Blue Sister, Queen of the South, Alina Thomas, Jennifer Rayner, Sylvia Correa, Monique, Tina G, Deborah B. Hey! Diane London in the house, y'all. Natalie B. Cha-Cha from Seattle, Jamie from Wisconsin, Wojo Mom, Victorina, Olivia in Seattle. Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad, and this is Storytime. Welcome, guys. Happy Friday Eve to all. We got a ton of stuff to do, and we're going to get right into it. But first, remember to hit that like button as we get into our stories of the day. Stories of the day. Wait, not that one. Here we go. Day 9 of the Chauvin trial introduces America to its new favorite doctor. Matt Gaetz' buddy Joel Greenberg is flipping. He may soon be the international man of sex trafficking. President Biden announces new executive orders aimed at gun reform. Fox News bags yet another Trump alumni, the worst Secretary of State ever, Mike Pompeo. Last but not least, we have Mike Pence as today's "You Raggedy Bush." Welcome, guys. All right, so first things first, there really is a thing to, like, when it's showtime, you know, like there's a switch you can flip on and off. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes the BP, the blood pressure is way too high and I can't do it. And today was almost that day. Guys, oh God, my neighbor was fixing his friend's car, guys, and the car alarm was nonstop for literally 1 hour straight. 1 hour. I was this close to saying, you know what? I can't do it today. I can't. My head actually is still throbbing a little bit from that experience. And I wanted to go out there, right? I wanted to go out there and confront them and say, like, yo, can you turn off that car alarm? Please, but I know myself, right? And once I turn that switch, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. My ears will be throbbing, and I'm just like, nah. Yeah, I try to keep myself calm. So it just stopped. I'm knocking on wood now. It just stopped like maybe 10 minutes ago. That's why I'm late. I couldn't even put my thoughts together and nothing. I was freaking out. Anyway, second thing. Second thing. I don't know if you guys saw Raggedy Bish. Yes, Asmila J. That's a good idea. I don't know if you guys saw last night. I posted a tweet where somebody said, "Post the food that makes people do this to you," and there was like a picture of like 100 people circling a guy with knives out. So I was like, yeah, I'm game. Screw it. I'm all out of fajizis to give. So I posted, I like pizza with pineapple. I like pizza with pineapple, barbecue sauce, and onions. And the replies to that were hilarious. Like they ranged from everything from unfollowed to "you monster." I like that Twitter, actually. I do enjoy that Twitter. That Twitter is fun. It's fun because you can't take anything seriously when you see those things. Secondly, I can confirm that wifey and I were not driving. We were not in a car when I posted that I'm riding shotgun on her crossword puzzle. I assumed people would know riding shotgun. It's a saying, right? I'm not literally like shotgun in the car kind of thing. I'm assisting with the crossword puzzle. And it's something that I actually enjoy doing because I've never finished a crossword puzzle by myself. Fun fact. I just haven't. And I don't, nowadays I could just Google the answer. I'm sure a lot of people do that, but you don't want to do that. You want to finish it on your own brain power. But she's asking me all the comic book and movie and politics questions. So I'm like, yeah. And I get it too. When she asks me, I know like immediately the answer. It's undisputable. Indisputable? Whatever. All right. And last but not least, I was gonna trim this down this weekend, but now I can't because today I went to take a COVID test. Not a COVID vaccine, a COVID test. Because as you guys know, since I'm sharing way too much information with you, I'm sharing way too much information. I have a colonoscopy coming up next week. And as such, it's a procedure that requires that I take a COVID test before I go and get the colonoscopy for some reason. They want to make sure that there's no Rona that's going to jump out of my butthole when they shove a camera in it or whatever the colonoscopy is. So, yeah. So, self-quarantine until the results come in next week. Damn. I hate that. But whatever. It is what it is. Let's jump right on in, guys. I've wasted enough time with that random shit. It is now time for... Wait, we got a troll? Who's the troll? Gavin, let's see. I don't see. Oh, yeah. David Rave wanted to pop in for some bullshit. Yeah, kick that jackass on out of here, please. To my wonderful moderators, thank you. Thank you so kindly. By the way, BTW, that COVID test was a swab. The swab, you have to scrape the back of your throat. I didn't enjoy that. Not one bit. All right. Time for some quick hits. Get on out of here, you troll. You need to leave. Thank you, Tina G. She got him. You need to leave. All right. Quick hits time. Oh, all right. So America, on the very same day that President Biden is making an announcement on more gun reform measures, we hear of another tragedy of gun violence. This one is Philip Adams, is a former NFL player. He took the lives of 5 people. This is including 2 children, ages 9 and 5. 2 of them were Dr. Robert Leslie, who was 70 years old, and his wife, Barbara, who was 69 years old. I mean, and literally before I jumped in, there's yet another shooting that's happening right now. I don't remember where, but they haven't even caught that shooter yet. But this shooter, Philip Adams, he killed himself. And, I guess that was after he shot everybody else. And some people are saying that maybe perhaps it was a result of CTE, which is the concussion thing, but nobody has any motives or any reason for why it happened. These shootings are always senseless. I don't care if they come up with the reason why. The reason is actually irrelevant. It's senseless. Speaking of senseless, we have Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo is the latest member of the Trump clan to be acquired by Fox News. Fox News has also picked up Kayleigh McEnany. Mike Pompeo really was about as horrible a Secretary of State, as undignified a Secretary of State as there ever was. There is a rule in politics that you leave politics at the water's edge, and he didn't play by that book at all. He was very partisan, and you're not supposed to be in that role. So, speaking of partisan, excuse me, some people are saying that Joe Biden is creating what is known as Biden Republicans. Biden Republicans. Why? How? What? It's because the right wing has gone so far off the cliff with their Marjorie Taylor Greens and their Matt Gaetzes and their Lauren Boeberts, and they're nuts. They're nuts. And there are people in the Republican Party who, they veer more towards the center. They're so far center, they're almost on the left, right? They're just, sensible people who want some fiscal responsibility and stuff. And yeah, they're on board for some of the social responsibility too. Those folks, they actually do exist. They're not unicorns. They are real, right? So there was a column written today by a guy named Max Boot. Trump Reaper says, swing voters, right you are. A guy named Max Boot, who did an opinion column for the Washington Post, and he was interviewed on Morning Joe today. And I'm just going to play a little clip for you so you can hear what he has to think about this notion of Biden Republicans.
I think that's exactly right, Joe. I mean, this feels to me like a moment like the early 1980s, when, remember, we had the Reagan Democrats who thought that the Democratic Party was too left-wing, went to the Republican Party. Those were the blue-collar type of voters who made the Republican Party more populist, provided a huge part of the Reagan coalition. And I think we're seeing something very similar going on right now with a very different demographic, because you still have the people who are high school graduates. They're still staying in the Republican Party. White high school graduates are staying in the Republican Party, but you're seeing increasingly college graduates migrating towards the Democrats. Suburban voters, moderate voters are migrating towards the Democrats. And I think that Joe Biden has a historic opportunity to accelerate and cement that transformation of American politics. And I think he's doing a very good job right now, because even though he's not winning any Republican votes for his legislation so far, like his big economic stimulus bill, he is winning a lot of support in the country at large. And you're seeing 60 to 70% of Americans supporting him on his COVID fighting, on his economic plans. You're seeing huge support for his infrastructure bill, despite all the opposition and obstructionism from Republicans. And, while Biden is grappling with these major issues, he's trying to address these massive problems that we face, like the pandemic, like the economic meltdown. As you say, what are Republicans talking about? They're talking about Dr. Seuss and Potato Head. They're trying to wage these culture wars because they know that's what their base likes. That's what keeps the cash registers ringing. That's what keeps Fox viewers excited. But they're increasingly tangential to the real business of American politics and the real business of American governance. And, Republicans are just marginalizing themselves in this alternative universe of alternative facts where Democrats seem much more centrist and much more pragmatic right now, which I think will further accelerate this shift in American politics.
Centrist and pragmatic. You know what? I've been called those things, and they were meant to be insults. Usually it's from like the far, far left, like Rose Twitter. And yeah, I'll take that. Centrist and pragmatic. I am very pragmatic. Yeah, I believe in things that work properly and they make sense to the general, for most people. Yeah. Interesting comment here from Baroness Fahrenheit, who says, don't trust them, but fine, as long as they don't call themselves Dems like Morning Joe. So Max Boot makes a few really good points. President Biden actually prides himself as being that guy who can reach across the aisle and work with Republicans, like this jackass Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and all that. I wouldn't trust a Republican as far as I could throw him. But, obviously in this polarized partisan climate, you have to. We've got like a very slim, narrow margin of victory for the Senate and even for the House too. But you can see Joe Biden is quite popular with Republicans. Look at these numbers here. 71, 64. This is talking about his infrastructure plan, but they like a grown-up, it turns out. Go figure. After 4 years of a terrible tyrant toddler in the White House, they like a guy who can string together a bunch of sentences without cursing out the press and, bad rapping everybody else. Yeah, so Biden Republicans, I don't trust Republicans, but if that's what we need to push the ball forward and keep progress going, and that's what Joe is interested in, it's just progress. It's just fixing shit that is broken. I love it. I love it so much. A fan of my alliteration. Thank you, Amanda. All right. So that is it for the quick hits. Let's see. Can I hit this? No. There we go. All right. So now I'm quite excited. Oh, before I move on, first, last night, I don't know if you guys were up at midnight. Sure you were. You guys are all night owls. About midnight Eastern time, I was on Twitter, and one after the other, I kept finding things that were tickling my funny bone. And this thing here, I saw it. It's by Paul Lee Teeks. He did a Photoshop, right? Everybody's doing Photoshop on Twitter, but this shit grabbed me and I couldn't stop laughing. So, God damn it. As you can see, he took Matt Gaetz's head and elongated it even further, right? And I, as a Photoshop pro, I could spot it, a mile away. I thought this shit was very funny. But the bottle, if you look at the bottle here, it says forehead and shoulders. Oh my God. Oh, I went to wifey and there were tears rolling out of my eyes. I love this guy, Paul Lee Teeks. He's very clever. Go follow him, please. It's at Paul Leeteeks. That dude is always putting some clever stuff together. All right, and I got more stuff to share with you in our next segment. You know what it is. It is time for the timeline cleanse. Timeline cleanse. Timeline cleanse. Doom, ba-doom, doom. All right. So first up, I know you guys are used to me sharing the cats and dogs things, and usually I do. That's, it is what it is. But today, I got some different stuff for you. I got more birdie type things. First up, have you guys ever heard of the term chicken head? You've heard the term chicken head used. Usually it's not nice. Not nice. Chicken head is a term used to describe a person who is of low moral character. But here's some different chicken heads just chilling in the park. What? These crazy people, they have chickens on their heads, and one has shades. I don't know if you can see the yellow shades. What? Good Lord. So many questions. Like, how do they even see? I don't get that, but that was funny. But next up, here's a different kind of bird. This is I have never successfully gotten a parrot to speak, but some people have the time and the patience and probably like the good selection of bird to get these parrots to speak. This parrot is quite clever, but also doesn't have that much patience either. He's saying, "Give me a kiss." You don't want to talk? You don't want to kiss? I'm taking your shit. Oh, you don't want to kiss? Yeah, fuck you. I got your little bucket. Fine. Excuse me. Okay. Next up, this is a tie-in with the Derek Chauvin trial. And without further ado, this is a little musical number. I love this to death. This is one of those TikTok videos. And it's called "Nope, You're Just a Racist."
I think Officer Chauvin was just doing his job.
Nope, you're just a racist.
Well,
Watch your face.
Just the victim of a liberal mob.
Nope, you're just a racist.
It was self-defense.
There was no attack.
He was threatening, right?
No, he was black. Whatever your counter-argumentative case is, the fact is you're just a racist. Black Lives Matter and your president lost.
I think Officer Chauvin was just doing his job.
Nope, you're just a
racist.
racist.
Well, I think he's just the victim of a liberal mob.
Nope, you're just a racist.
It was self-defense.
There was no attack.
He was threatening, right?
No, he was black. Whatever your counter-argumentative case is, the fact is you're just a racist. Black Lives Matter and your president lost.
I think Officer Chauvin
I
was
love that they made a whole song and dance number for that, and her facial expressions were classic. That was great. So last but not least, there is this is a totally random thing. Have you guys ever been driving, right? And the person ahead of you is bullshitting around. The light has changed. And then I'm moving. Why? Because they're on the phone texting, right? Don't you just hate that? I want to just lean on my horn the whole time. It's just like, move your ass! Get off the phone! I wish I had like a loudspeaker to announce that shit and embarrass them. So often you wonder, like, that person is going to get into an accident. You don't want to see it happen, but you kind of like, that would teach your ass a lesson. But you don't want it to happen. But sometimes, if it's somebody on a bike, all right, I'll take that. I'll take it. The slow-mo. Your face right into the van. Do not text and bike. Do not text and drive. Do not crossword puzzle and drive. Don't do it because your face. God damn. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah. So, yeah, I love it. Guys, just so you know, don't get mad at me. I can't do the roll call today because I started so damn late, and it is what it is. I just jam-packed way too much content into this show. Please forgive. I just need to do what I have to do. Yeah, stuff. All right, so Chacha says, that's okay. You guys. Cindy, it's okay. Thank you. All right, so first up, the Derek Chauvin trial. That thing has been going on. Today was day 9 of the Chauvin trial. Day 9. And every time I think that I have seen like my new favorite star witness, somebody else steps up and steals the show. And today was no different. Today we had the fantastic, the marvelous, the incomparable Dr. Martin Tobin. This doctor has 45 years of experience. And if you didn't know, you knew at the beginning when the prosecuting attorney was presenting his book and he was asking, how many awards do you have and where have you spoken? He's lectured all over the world, including Minneapolis. He's been everywhere. He's done it all. He knows his shit. And on top of that, this pulmonologist had the best accent in the world. I love that accent. Now, right, if I could have any accent, I would have his accent. It's charming. It's, and the dude was smart. First of all, he's not getting paid. It's this gentleman here. He's not getting paid, but he came with facts, figures. He had diagrams. He had 3D videos. But more importantly, he had the prosecution's most powerful argument that helps to dispel the whole notion of whether or not drugs played a part in the death of George Floyd.
We would be expecting a 40% reduction in the respiratory rate with fentanyl. The normal respiratory rate is 17 breaths per minute, plus or minus 5. So that would mean a normal respiratory rate of between 12 and 22. That's the normal range of respiratory rate. And so if it was with fentanyl, you'd be expecting a respiratory rate of 10. Instead of that, you count it here yourself. And you can see when you count it yourself that the respiratory rate is 22. So basically it tells you there isn't fentanyl on board. That is affecting his respiratory centers. It's not having an effect on his respiratory centers.
So Mr. Floyd's respiratory rate was normal at 22 just before he lost consciousness.
Correct.
So, fun fact here. Our friend Matt Meehan says he has the exact same accent. So jealous. I'm so jealous of you, Matt. Right now, Matt. But yeah, I loved how he said respiratory, whatever, brilliant. He's a brilliant guy. I loved that he had me watching. I was riveted. If this guy was my biology teacher, I would have gotten an instant A, because he was able to break down all of his facts in layman's terms. He had me touching my neck, touching my ear. The guy was fantastic. I felt like I was actually learning something. Yeah. But then, right, I experienced a whole range of emotions watching this presentation, because not only was I enamored and charmed by this highly intelligent, knowledgeable expert, but then when he got into the nitty-gritty of what actually happened to George Floyd, I went from sad to furious, or from furious to sad. Okay, so this was the point here when I learned that Derek Chauvin, the way he was positioned, he had so much weight on George Floyd's neck that his toe wasn't even touching the ground. You guys have all balanced on your knees at some point in time, right? And you know that you need your toe to keep you upright. But dude had so much weight, half of his body weight was on George Floyd's neck. Jennifer Rayner says almost 100 pounds. RJ here is saying 91.5 pounds. Yeah. Get all that shit about the drugs and the fentanyl and the methamphetamine. Get it out of here, because it's nonsense. But this was the part that killed me. This just destroyed me. As Dr. Tobin breaks down what George Floyd was doing to attempt to bring oxygen into his lungs, that he had to use his knuckle. He had to press his knuckle up against the tire to just get some air. This is when, he's got nothing left. He can't breathe from the diaphragm because he's being pressed into the street. This was horrible, 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 heinous. They had him handcuffed behind his back, face smushed into the concrete, into the street. You see, his toe isn't even touching the ground. I want this trial. Really, I know it won't be, but I wish that the trial was over today. Why? Because right now the outrage is fresh in my mind. The outrage, and you gotta imagine that at least half, if not more than half of the jury is feeling the same exact way. They're looking at the facts. They are absolutely looking at the facts, and they're taking notes, and they're trying to be objective, because that's your job as a juror. But, the arguments of the defense, some people are saying they think that the defense is going for the incompetent defense at this point. They're already looking at an appeal because this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He has no clue. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about the Chauvin trial. The drugs had absolutely nothing to do with it. The crowd had absolutely nothing to do with it. It was 100% Derek Chauvin's reckless disregard for human life that caused the end of George Floyd's life. Period. Nothing else was a cause of that. And we've seen, because science. Moving on right along, President Biden made a very important presentation from the Rose Garden today. And this was directly addressing the rising toll of gun violence. And he's a guy who he's not just gonna sit back and let this shit happen. If there's anything he can do about it, we've already seen Joe is trying to get shit done. I said this before, and I believe it today. I believe that he is acting like he's only going to have one term. This guy is not bullshitting around. He's not wasting time. You see, he just passed the COVID relief bill, which is like a whopping $1.9 trillion bill, and he's already pushed forward on the $2.25 trillion bill. I don't think Obama would have pushed to get this many things. He had a Democratic House and Senate, but he used that just for Obamacare, and nothing else got passed in his first. Nothing else big got passed in his first term. But now he's going right to the heart of Republican fears. That whole Second Amendment debate. They're coming to steal our guns. They're trying to end the Second Amendment. No, we're not. And Joe Biden said nothing he is proposing is jeopardizing the Second Amendment. He also said gun violence in this country is an epidemic, and it's an international embarrassment. And he's going to do something about it. He said, and he also pointed out that gun manufacturers are the only billion-dollar industry that can't be sued. That's insane. Why do they have so much power? The products that they sell contribute to the deaths of, 100 people per day? Have we already lost 11,000 people to gun violence this year? Is that right? Did I mishear what he said? Because it sure as hell sounded like that's what he said. So there's several things that he wants to address. These are ghost guns that you see on the screen right here. Ghost guns, they are sold as a kit. They are unserialized and untraceable firearms that can be bought online and assembled at home. Right? The catch is there's no serial number on it, so you can't trace it. It's untraceable. And so it creates a great big loophole. It's also, they're not even considered firearms. They're technically not considered firearms. So Joe Biden wants to address that. He wants to make sure that those ghost guns become, they get serial numbers and that so that they can be traced and eliminate the whole loophole for that. He also wants to enact red flag laws. What are red flag laws? So red flag laws are, say you have somebody who is in a dangerous state of mind, and I don't know how they figure out these red flags. Who do they red flag? Somebody who just gets pissed off at their neighbor like me, I get pissed off at my neighbor, somebody finds out, and suddenly I got a red flag. Doesn't matter for me because I don't need a gun. I don't care about guns. But how do they figure out? Somebody maybe just got fired, or somebody who got arrested for violent assault. There we go. That's it. Violent assaults, stuff like that, red flag, and then, there's a waiting list, or maybe they can't get they temporarily get their guns taken away. That's gonna have to write in a fit. Red flag so Merrick Garland, Attorney General Merrick Garland, said that the Justice Department wants to assist in making it easier for states to enact their own red flag laws because, I guess it differs from state to state, the kinds of things that you can do. These red flag laws will allow the temporary removal of guns from people deemed at high risk of harming themselves or others. So that's big. That's a fundraising. This is a whole fundraising thing for the GOP right now. As soon as his speech started, even before his speech started, the right wing was already raising the alarm on. They want to take our guns and try to eliminate the Second Amendment. But he's also calling on Congress to enact a number of gun reforms, including he wants a ban on assault weapons. We had it before. We should have it again. Eliminate gun manufacturer immunity. Common sense right there. Yeah, they can't be the only ones that are immune to being sued. That's stupid. Require background checks for guns bought at gun shows. Yeah, that's a major loophole. We've been talking about that for at least a decade. Close the Charleston loophole. And the Charleston loophole is that if you try to buy a gun and they're doing a background check on you, I think the period is like 3 days, 72 hours. And if that background check doesn't clear by 72 hours, you automatically get to buy the gun. That's stupid. Reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act. Yes. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. So I got no problem with it. This is Joe Biden doing promises delivered. Promises delivered. This is something that he promised to do. Some people are criticizing and saying it's not enough. But you know what? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. Okay? He is doing something. Every time we have a mass shooting, everybody jumps online and saying, do something. Enough is enough. Do something. He's doing something. He's doing as much as he can, and he's putting the conversation out there into the populace. So it's on our lawmakers to make that happen. That's the next step. Because, Biden does not want to be a dictator. He doesn't want to rule by pen, but he will do as much as possible as he can and then pass the ball on over to Congress and see what we can get passed. And if it doesn't happen with this Congress in 2022, we flip the script, we add some more Democratic senators, and we make it happen. Simple as that. Simple as that. Next up, I love this graphic. I'm going to try to use this as often as I can. Seriously, this is funny as hell. But yeah, so it turns out Matt Gaetz's buddy, Joel Greenberg, he is a former tax commissioner in Seminole County in Florida and is a good buddy of Matt Gaetz. He previously was facing decades in prison on 33 federal counts that range from identity theft to sex trafficking of a minor. So this scumbag, this sleazebag, is making a plea deal. And that plea deal is bad news for Matt Gaetz. Let me tell you, it's not good news for him. No, no. Because 33 federal counts, decades in prison. For him to bring that shit down, he's got to give him a lot of dirt on Matt Gaetz. A lot. Do you think Matt Gaetz is worried? Let's ask Joel Greenberg's lawyer.
Does Matt Gaetz have anything to worry about?
Does Matt Gaetz? That is such a.
When it comes to what happened today in court.
not
does
answering.
he have anything to worry about? And you're asking me to get into the mind of Matt Gaetz, right? And
Well, from your mind.
from my mind,
Based on what your client knows.
based on what my client knows. Okay. See, I thought if I kept on talking and talking, I would avoid these questions and not to say, I'm sure Matt Gaetz is not feeling very comfortable today. All right? Is that
This dude. Does he have anything to worry about? Let me see. Does he have anything? Does he have anything? Does he have anything? Could you rephrase the question? Yeah, he got shit to worry about. Sure enough. Now, you know that lawyer already knows. That lawyer already knows. He spoke to his client and says, hey, we got to make a deal. You want to stay out of jail for 40 years. Wait, who said hamana? Pasadi said hamana. Yeah, you want to stay out of prison for decades, you got to give him something. You can't just say, I saw it. No, he's got text messages. He's got pictures. Who knows? He might even have video clips. And then we also found out that this dirtbag took a trip to the Bahamas, which makes him potentially, first we were just thinking, sex trafficking by crossing federal state lines. That's a crime in and of itself. But international sex trafficking? He went to the Bahamas and let's say he didn't pay the prostitutes himself. The guy that flew, because apparently somebody flew them to the Bahamas, and that somebody paid for the hotel, paid for the flight, paid for the prostitutes, etc., etc. All Matt Gaetz has to do is know that the expenses were being taken care of on his behalf, and boom, he is implicated. So life is coming at Matt Gaetz pretty damn fast. Yeah, you hate to see it. No, you don't. It couldn't have happened to a worse guy. Indeed. He pals around with Roger Stone and a scumbag like Joel Greenberg. I didn't even know who Joel Greenberg was until like last week. And all of a sudden, he is apparently the guy who's going to help take Matt Gaetz down. I say Gaetz ought to resign right now and spend some time, shoring up his defense. He's going to need it. If this dude flips on Matt Gaetz, that shit is a wrap. So I am watching. Oh, okay. Gavin has identified a troll in the crowd. Let's see. Let me just scroll up and see if I can see who it is. I don't see a troll. Oh, yeah. Damian Fisher. Get that jackass out of here. I love how people, they try to pretend like they know my life and shit. And they're doing it based off of bullshit rumors that they've heard on, on the interwebs. Go nuts with that shit, guys. Yeah. Okay. So next up, ladies and gentlemen, yes, Damian Fisher. That's it. Let's see. Gaetz posted a tweet of him chatting to kids by Zoom today. Not a good look. Not a good look for him at all. Thank you for the update. So he's been deleted. Excellent. Pasta D says she heard a rumor that BDD is awesome. Thank you. I heard the same thing myself. I started that rumor. All right. It is now time for... Oh, there we go. He is the poster tile for Raggedy Bishesness. So... Mike Pence, man. Mike Pence is so horrible that Trump's own supporters wanted to hang him. Literally wanted to hang him. The only thing I can give Mike Pence credit for is not falling in. And, you know, I'm going to give credit where it's due. On January 6th, he did his duty. He did not fold to the pressure. There was pressure on him, big pressure on him by Trump. And as you know, the people who showed up with gallows with the intention of hanging him, you know, they were pressuring Mike Pence to do the right thing. I'm sure he probably got loads of threatening emails and letters and stuff. So this jackass, he's still a jackass. He spent the majority of his time in office gazing longingly and admiringly at this orange toenail. Look at that, you know, how hard that's, I can't even imagine spending every waking moment of my adult life gazing longingly at somebody who is so beneath you, who is so beneath me, who is beneath everybody, and he's looking at him like he's a pile of gold when really he's a pile of shit. So Mike Pence has struck a seven-figure 2-book deal with Simon & Schuster. They somehow think that he's worth paying 7 figures. Why? He's not going to spill anything. He's not. Because if he could have, he would have. Wouldn't he? Not even John Bolton. John Bolton is the same. He's cut from the same cloth. You wait until after he's out of the game to dish the dirt. But he doesn't have any dirt. He does not. So a lot of people are tossing around possible titles for the Mike Pence book. I'll share a few of them with you now. We got My Mother the Fly is a possible title. Cheat, Pray, Gov. I thought that one was pretty clever. I was an obsequious non-entity. I like that. That's very specific. Dereliction of duty. That's a good one. A spineless journey. Yeah. 4 years on my knees. That's cutting. Mother, my boss tried to kill me. That could be like a children's book. How to aid and abet white supremacy. Complicit. How I sold out Jesus for a red hat. And last but not least, it's how to kill 400,000 people without even trying. Because, you know, he was in charge of the COVID pandemic response team. He did a very bad job. He should have spent less time gazing admiringly at Adolf Hitler and done his job. But he didn't. So that's why he is today's You Raggedy Bish. All right. Now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the littlest president. The littlest president is available on BrooklynDeadDefiant.com. It's also available on Amazon.com. Wait, Lisa Hathaway is asking, Didn't Simon and Garfunkel write a song about him, about Mike Pence in the 70s? Now I got to know, what's the name of this song? Oh, Silent Blue Sister got her book yesterday. Nice, nice, nice. I want the answer to that to that question. What was the Simon and Garfunkel? Was it The Sound of Silence? I don't see the answer. Okay, you fill me in. Swooshy, we won. Brooklyn Dad Defiant. The Sound of Silence. I was right. I'm always right, even when I'm wrong. The Littlest President is starring President Barack Obama, Hillary Rodham Clinton, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Joseph R. Biden, and the R stands for ready to kick that ass. Phew. Bladder Bear pooping, holding the puppet strings on Spanky McDumbass. Complicit Barbie. Rudy Giuliani. Gummy McJuicebox. Kellyanne Conjob. Stephen the Snake Miller. Whoops. Stephen the Snake Miller. And Mitch McTurtle McConnell. You know, every once in a while when I think about the luck of having put Joe Biden on the cover and in this fighting position too, because that kind of is Joe's like mojo, especially when he was dealing with Trump. I remember at one point he was like, yeah, get me in the back of the gym with Trump alone. I'll knock him out. You guys remember that? Shit is funny. The dude is funny. And he's real, too. And now, guys, it's time for our favorite page because this is Spanky McDumbass. Spanky McDumbass is sad. He used to be rich. He used to be a businessman. He used to be a TV star. He used to have a Twitter account. He used to be the littlest president. But now Spanky McDumbass is in jail. How did he get here? Let's go back. Oh, yeah. RJ just threw up the, shut up, man. I love that one. That was great. That was great. That was, I don't know if that was scripted or not, but I just loved that he came out and said what we all want to say to Trump for the past 4 years. Just shut up, man. That was great. We'll always have that, no matter what. We'll always have, just shut up. It was fantastic. All right. So today we're going to cover, this was actually one of my favorite pages that unfortunately, despite the fact that I've been Nostradamus for much of the book, this one did not pan out as I wanted it to. But I'm going to read it anyway. So the Capitol Police showed up, and they had the littlest handcuffs they had ever used, and they grabbed him by his little arms, and he screamed, and he lied, and he hollered, and he cried. And they dragged him out of the White House where he could no longer do any harm to America. Spanky was in bigly trouble. But what we'll never know is how close we actually came to this scene right here. We'll never know because he eventually did end up leaving voluntarily. But I wonder if they had to talk him out of the, talk him down from the ledge. I wonder if he was actually intending to, hold himself up in there and try to stick it out and force them to drag him out. At one point, I think he had a bunch of people, including Ivanka, trying to talk him into peacefully leaving. Yeah, I guess when January 6th turned out the way it did, that sealed his fate. He couldn't stay. After January 6th happened, that made this possibility null and void. He had to leave because, that was an insurrection, and if he tried to stay, that would make it even worse. So he really screwed himself by inciting the thing that made him. He would have had to leave anyway, damn it, like it or not, I remember Joe saying, people were asking Joe if they were concerned about him leaving. He says, no, we have people in the military who are perfectly capable of escorting him off the premises. That was it. Next question. It was great. But yet, hey, we still have the possibility of seeing a perp walk. I'm looking forward to that. DB, Pasta D is reminding us to please, if you have not already, please do this thumbs up thing and like this video. Thank you for that. And let's see, I got time for like this many questions. What do you got? Hey, there's Deb B saying, who's now responding to 45's demands of someone bring me a Diet Coke? That would have to be either Eric. Yeah, Eric, or possibly Rudy Giuliani. Yeah. I can't imagine Ivanka doing it. If he asks Ivanka to do it, she'll just delegate that to Jared. Yep. Let's see. Solid Blue Sister says, BDD, every time you blow your nose, do you wash your hands? Tell the truth. That's a funny question because when I blow my nose, no, I do not. I do not. Pretty sure I don't. But the fun fact is that I blow my nose in the morning and at night. Almost never during the day. I almost never have to. But I clean out my nostrils, both nostrils, with water. I take it in and I blow it out into the sink. And that's that. I clean up after myself, of course, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I almost never have to blow my nose during the day. But when I do, no, I'm being honest. I don't wash my hands after blowing the nose. No. Unless, of course, if it's like, if it's one of those times you blow your nose and it's like messy, of course. But it's rarely that. Rarely. Alexi says, I heard that the Avenger campus in Disneyland will be open in June. Will you go there when it's open? Probably not. I don't think I can trust going to Florida. Florida's like the wild, wild west when it comes to COVID. I'm sorry, really. If anything, we are going, the first place we're going will be California to go visit Scribble My Dibble and her family. Is what it is. But at some point, I'd like to. Sure, I'm a big comic book fan. Yeah. Jennifer Rayner says, I was walking around doing Rudy Giuliani. Oh, here's a question from Corey Lord wants to know, how will we know for sure when Chauvin becomes convicted for his abuse of authority? I'm assuming that he'll be convicted of either all or some of the charges, in one shot. We'll hear about it. Usually when they read off There's a bunch of different charges that he's on trial for, and when the trial is over, after the closing arguments have been presented and the jury goes into deliberation, and I think that deliberation is going to take, I don't know, weeks. It shouldn't, if it was my jury, we'd be like 4 hours, we're done. Verdict. Maybe that's too soon. Maybe a day. I'd allow a day. But this, because they're seeing so many witnesses, right? This trial has taken 2 weeks so far, 9 days already. And the defense hasn't even presented its witnesses yet. And then the prosecution has to cross-examine those witnesses. And then they have the closing arguments. It's going to be another 2 or 3 weeks before this trial is over. That's my guess. Trump Reaper. I'm not even going to repeat that. That's disgusting. Lee Saunders says, what happened to New York arresting Trump? I'm getting impatient. Hey, you and me both. I'm ready for them to lock his ass up yesterday. All right, guys. Thank you once again for another excellent episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad. If you must go out tonight, please be sure to wear your masks, 2 of them. Wear your gloves. Keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And have a lovely, relaxing evening. I will be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Same time, same place. I love you all. Peace. Boom. Thank you, Olivia. Hey! Yeah, Solid Blue, you always keep me on my toes, indeed. Hey! Good God! You need to leave. Hey! Sydney says, don't cut the dance party short anymore. The music isn't finished when you're ending the show lately. All right, I don't know how much longer to leave it rolling, but I will attempt. Let's see, Mo's saying, I work tomorrow, so will not be quite as available for insightful, sarcastic comments. All right, Punxsutawney Mo, good luck at work mañana. I love you.